Hello and welcome to our March session of our Lunch and Learn, which is connected to our How To Festival. My name's Anna and I'm really pleased to be welcoming Vicky from Beltin Marketing, who's going to talk us through improving our branding, our online persona, and just sort of getting over what can feel like a bit of an uncomfortable thing when you're promoting yourself and you don't know where to start, and often we shy away from sort of singing about our achievements. So she's going to get us over that hurdle. First, I'm just going to quickly walk people through the How To Festival, just in case people haven't actually accessed it yet. So the How To Festival is a website. It started off as a in-person event where we had lots of different experts, contributors doing little bite-sized sort of taster sessions on a topic. And that was great and worked really well, but obviously it's limited to that in-person event. So we wanted to broaden it out, make it more accessible. So we brought it online into a website and put it into certain sections where people have contributed a short video where they go through a topic, and it's really jargon-free, really accessible, and you can return to it, you can come back to it. There's lots of topics. I'm going in the creative one because it relates to what we're doing today, but using Canva, using Twitter, all this sort of thing. And you can also access resources and podcasts. So it's a great way to sort of get a bit of learning in at your own pace and at your own convenience. So I just wanted to walk you through that first. But yeah, I'll hand over to Vicky to tell us all about how we can get over ourselves and shout about how great we are.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Anna. Yeah, we were just talking about before the call started, actually, about how sometimes it can feel a little bit uncomfortable to sort of shout about your own achievements and your past and what you're doing at the minute and your hopes for the future and that kind of thing. So what this session is about is feeling confident in talking about yourself and in pushing your best attributes to the forefront. And I think I read a survey the other day, which was an American survey, but it was about people who are confident in their own abilities and who talk about their own abilities, and versus people who are quite self-depreciative. And apparently, if you look at the stats, people who talk about their own skills and confidence are more likely to get promoted in the workplace than people who are quite self-depreciative, even if they have similar standards in the work. If you big yourself up a little bit, it just gives you that extra edge as well. So we really need to be doing this, and especially as women, I think sometimes especially if you work in a male environment like I do at the minute. I work on a newspaper as a sub editor, and I would say it's about 60-40 split men women, even more, and it's a workplace where you've got to put your foot down a little bit and be quite confident. Otherwise, you can get forgotten and left behind a little bit. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. We are going to be looking at some slides, and I can send these slides over to Anna later to send off so that you can look at them again. So what we're looking at today is creating some profiles online, adding content to them, and building your community on social media. We're also going to look at websites as well, and we're going to look at your previous achievements and bringing what you've already done so far to the table so that people can see. Because even if you've done something in the past and you think that everybody knows about what you used to do, the chances are that as you're meeting new people and you're growing, they might not know about what you've done before. So you need to keep highlighting that. We're going to look at soft skills as well, what you can bring to the job or to the business that you're in at the moment. And we're going to look a little bit at wider networking, both online and in person. And speaking of which, as we're all in this group together now at the minute, if you've got a profile that you'd like to share, like a business or anything like that, or a website, please put it in the chat and we'll all have a look at each other's after. I'm Beltin_Wigan on Twitter if you want to follow me. Now then, so personal branding. If you've got any questions, by the way, please jump in the chat or just shout out or put your hand up and we'll get your questions answered as we go along. For personal branding, so what is personal branding when you think, how am I going to brand myself? I'm not a product. But for this session, I want you to imagine that you are like a company or a product. You're going to have to identify what you want your personal branding to bring across. So we're going to think about photographs that you take. I mean, we're in the selfie world now. There's no excuse not to have some decent photographs of yourself. And if you haven't, there's an option to hire a professional photographer. They'll do this for about £50 to £100 normally if they're a freelancer, and give you the digital images. So it doesn't cost too much, and you've got them for good use then for the future. A logo, you can, just because companies have a logo, it doesn't mean to say that a person can't have a logo. So if you're thinking of setting up a Facebook page, for example, about you and your business, then think about getting a logo for yourself. You can create this on Canva. I would fully recommend looking at Canva, which is a graphic design app. You can use it on your computer on desktop, or you can use it on a phone or an iPad. There is a free version which is very, very good, and it's super simple to use with lots of free templates on there. So think about a colour scheme, maybe some patterns perhaps that represent you and what you do. And as you can see on this page here, I've gone with the colours like greys and blacks and whites. And it's a particular shade of grey, which I have got the hex number for. And if you look in Canva, every single colour in the whole wide world, on the spectrum has a hex number. So if you find the hex number for your colour, it's a 6-digit number, and you can use this again and again in any printed or digital materials. And I have this little yellow shade coming through and a red, and then I stick to those colours pretty much in all of my branding. So whenever I'm creating something online, I try and stick to these colours to give a sort of an overall consistent picture of the branding, and people start to recognise it now. Yeah, the speech marks represent sort of communication, because that's about what I do. I help people to communicate their brand and to market their brands. Sometimes people use things like flowers or butterflies or clocks. I've seen all sorts of little images that people pick up on and use throughout the branding, and that can work really well too. If you're not sure about your brand and your colours, have a think about what you're trying to portray to people. So like what your personality is like, your ethos and your beliefs. So it doesn't have to be like what's the word for it, stereotypical. So if you're a florist, you don't have to have like flowers and leaves in your brand. You might choose to do that, but have a think about what colours are you drawn to, what you want to portray to other people. I think I chose the monochrome colours because I think it complements black and white pictures as well as coloured pictures. I wanted something that was quite clear and not too fussy as well. And I kind of like the retro look, so I think that this ties in quite nicely with that. And another thing that I like to look at when we're talking about personal branding and thinking about palettes and things like that, and thinking about what you're doing in life in general, is it's a Japanese concept called ikigai. And if you've probably heard of it, if you haven't, have a Google. And it's about like balancing your life with the things that not just what you love and what you're good at, but also what you can be paid for, and what the world needs, what the people need of you, and what the environment needs from you. So when you're creating your content, you can bear this in mind. You can get through all the things that you're passionate about, what you love, but also things that are going to help other people. So I, for example, use, like when I'm talking about marketing and social media and teaching people how to use social media well for the brands and for the businesses, I relate a lot back to the 90s and like when we were at school. A lot of my clients are in the late 30s, early 40s, into the 50s really. And I always use this concept that, you know, we weren't taught these social media skills when we were at school because it just wasn't there then. So we've all had to be complete self-taught on things like digital marketing and websites. So I often relate it back to the 90s and say, you know, is your website a bit weird 2001 and things like that, and try and make it a bit funny, have a bit of a laugh with people. I've also got a northern take on like the whole name of my business is Beltin, so I wanted to use a northern word, and I use this quite a lot because I know that I'll be working in the north with people that are from the northwest, and I think it just makes people relax a little bit, puts them at ease if you use like the words that they use, and they think it's a bit funny and want to come across as approachable as well. So think about your public image and what you want to portray. What do you want people to do or think about when they see you online? And I've used this particular example of Neil Patel, who is somebody that I want you to Google later because he's like an SEO guru. So for search engine optimization, SEO, Neil Patel is your man. He writes hundreds of blogs. He's got a really good keyword checking tool, which we'll look at in a minute. And he's very much got the ethos that I have, that you can do this yourself. You can run your social media and create a website and make it successful, and you can do it yourself. You just need to learn a few tricks of the trade. So what Neil does is he uses this like red and white colour. He's quite often got a plain white background behind him so that you could just see his face. He wears similar clothing, like plain clothing, sometimes in a suit, but sometimes quite laid back, generally more like sports casual kind of clothing, so that he comes across as approachable. You know, he smiles as well, and I think a lot of people forget that, you know, when they take pictures of themselves or stick a profile picture on LinkedIn, they want to be impressive and look cool, but they forget that actually you want people to ring you or email you or talk to you at an event. You want to connect with people, so just give them a smile, and it really does make a big difference. And then when you've got an easily recognizable personal branding like this, every time you see a Neil Patel post on social media, or if you search online, say you search for a question like how to get more traffic to my website and Neil Patel comes up, you're more likely to go, and I am more likely to go and click on him because I trust him. And it's this, often we talk about speed of trust in sales and marketing, and it's about whether somebody's going to trust you to invest in, to buy from, to take advice from. So if you've seen somebody's logo a lot and you've seen the marketing materials and you've watched the videos, you're much more likely to go to them in the future. And this is how he makes his money. He works with the big companies as well, not just sole traders. He works with massive companies, and he helps their SEO to grow and therefore the sales. So yeah, my answers personally were that I want to portray helpfulness and a willingness to learn, and I want to be friendly and approachable, and I want people to contact me and engage with my socials. I want them to speak to me when they see me, because they think, oh, that's Vicky from Beltin, and they'll, you know, if I'm at an event, they're more likely to approach me. And and that there's lots of reasons for that. I am a sociable person anyway. If you're not a sociable person, this might be quite scary for you. You think, oh God, everyone's going to see my face and come up to me and talk to me at events. But if you're looking for a job, if you're looking for to start a business, then these are the things that we need to do. We need to make relationships with people. And a lot of this is about habit forming. And so if people see you and your brand, they'll think of you and your persona and what you like, and come and engage with you. Has anyone got any questions, by the way, before I move on? No.
I'd just like to say I really like that idea, because I'm quite introverted and I don't like front-facing things. But I think if you have that safe space where you can sort of show your personality, your values, and you've already done that, it's almost like you've broken down that barrier. You've already introduced yourself in a way that's controlled and a bit safer for you, but it makes it easier if you kind of maybe muff up the face-to-face. At least someone knows what you stand for already, and you're just sort of, you've already done the introduction almost. And I think that for someone who maybe doesn't like that, it's a soft entry to already have put your sort of persona out there in a
it's also quite a good way to back up yourself as well, so that because sometimes you lose sight about what you do and what your ethos is. So if you've got it written down somewhere and it's online and you've published it, you can repeat the spiel. And we talk about this a lot in funding bids and that kind of thing. If you've got like a little slogan, like mine's Beltin Marketing Wigan, telling stories about brilliant businesses is one of my little slogans. So if you've got some of these little catchlines and slogans, and then like think about a paragraph about what you do, and then maybe go into more detail like you would on a about page. If you've got that information to hand and ready, then every time you do meet someone in a social situation, you can launch into this spiel. And you'll notice that people do this when you meet them at events. It's almost like they've said it 1,000 times, and probably because they have, but they're very good at conveying what they do in a short space of time, so that there's more. And I also do, like that awkwardness. So it can really help, definitely. So looking at some more examples, these are ones that I found on a Wix blog, which is a few years old now, but they have updated this website recently. I've been on it today to check, and there's a really good article about personal branding here. So the first example is like a personal trainer, and she's just trading under her name, and she's got a website which is, you can see those colours that she's not only wearing them, but they're in the background as well, the red, white and blue. And she's got the link in there to book classes, which will probably go through to some kind of a booking page. So these are all being built on Wix. Wix is a website platform like WordPress, which you can create your own website on, but it's a very, very simple process on Wix. I am trying to recommend it to people at the moment, because it's what we call a what you see is what you get, but a WYSIWYG builder. So you literally drag on a section like a title, and then overtype it, and then drag on a picture. And it's very easy to use, and I'm trying to advocate it at the moment. And then the second one is more of a creative one, and I think this is the lady who's looking for work at the moment. So, in the olden days, we used to do a CV on a piece of paper or a couple of pieces of paper, and have them hand out just some type about what we've done and your history, education history, etc., etc. But nowadays, what people are looking for is a bit more information and a bit of an insight into you as a person. So this is a great way of doing it. She set up a little Wix website, and it's got some tabs along the top. I don't know if you can see them. It says home, CV, blog, contact. So she's just got 4 pages on there, and then she's got her social media, links for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So if anybody's looking to find out anything about this lady, and I think it was an artist, so it's got some of her work on there as well, then there is a place to go just to find out more information about her, which is brilliant. And the Wix websites are quite cheap as well. So if you think you can set up a basic one for free, but if you wanted to go down the business profile, I think it's less than £200 for the year, so it's not too expensive. LinkedIn. Can we just have a little show of hands if you are on LinkedIn? Just give us a wave or a thumbs up if you are on LinkedIn, because sometimes I find that it's quite underutilized. I don't think, have we got any? Yep, we've got a hand. Maggie's on there. Good. I'm on there. Anna's on there. Kate, Rakia, yeah, good. So we've got some on there. I would definitely recommend that everybody sets up a LinkedIn page if you haven't, and sort of nurture it from time to time. It's not a platform that you necessarily need to be on all the time, but it's very useful for when you are looking for work or looking for new contacts. It's basically Facebook for work, so people tend to talk about work-related things on there. Now, there has been a little bit of a shift recently, I'd say, in about the past 2 or 3 years on LinkedIn, where people are being a lot more personal about themselves, about work, about issues like mental health. And I think it's become a little bit more of a social network recently, LinkedIn, but it's grounded in business and in work. So what I would do is I would set up a personal page, which you have to start off with, basically, but also set up a business page if you've got a business. If you haven't and you're trading under you and your name, then you could use your personal account, or you could set up a separate account, which is like your branding, your persona page, like if you were freelancing, for example. But your personal page is going to be with you, for years to come. You could put all your education on there, all your previous work, if you want to. You don't have to, if it's relevant, maybe, or if you want it up there. Get yourself a really nice pic of your face. This is just me on a selfie on a white background, doing a bit of a Neil Patel there with my white background. It's simple. I'm smiling a bit. I think I could probably have smiled a bit more on that one. And immediately people get a vibe off you when they look at you. They recognize your face, and they're going to think, oh, this is the person. This is a real person. So for your cover image, you can create these for free on Canva. They've got to be like a long strip. So the sizing is there for you. That's the number of pixels that you need to make it that exact size. But be aware that when you're looking at a LinkedIn page on a mobile, it's going to shrink, and it's just going to show you the center section. So that's why I've put my logo on this one right in the middle. So if you've got any vital information or a picture or logo or anything, stick it right in the middle. Another trick to get away with that resizing thing is if you put quite a fluid picture up there, which has got no sort of center of attention kind of thing, so no point of real importance, like a crowd of people or a garden scene or a landscape or something, so that if it's cut down, it doesn't really matter too much. You can, if you want to, include your email, phone number, contact name on your banner, so that when people click on it, if people want to get in touch with you, rather than having to go through the LinkedIn Messenger service, they can just contact you directly. LinkedIn would much prefer that you use their Messenger service, but a lot of people just dip in and out of LinkedIn, so you might miss the messages. So I would try and think about what we call a call to action, which is how you want people to get in touch with you, or what you want them to do next. text. So if you'd rather people rang you, put your mobile number on there, but be aware that this is then in the public domain. If you'd rather they emailed you, stick your email address up there. And I'd recommend getting a dedicated email address for either your, if you're looking for work, for your CVs and your job applications and whatnot, or if you've got a business, then a business email. There is a little bit of debate on whether you should have a professional business email, like mine's at beltinwigan.com. That's because it kind of came along with my website, so I got that for that reason. But I don't think there's any harm in having an at Gmail account or an at Outlook account. So many people have them nowadays that it's just part of the course. And I think as long as people have somewhere to contact you, then that's the most important thing. So try and get as much information on your profile as possible. Think about the times where you've really tried hard or put some effort into something. So it might be through your education, volunteering counts. If you've got any photos from volunteering experience, or just if you just list your volunteer experience, that makes a big difference as well, because you're using lots of skills and it shows that you're kind of socially interested in helping out society as well. Include a tagline like we talked about, a little this bit under your name, and I've used one of my contacts here as an example. She's put her job title here as the tagline so that people see your name, but it usually doesn't mean much to most people if they've never met you or they haven't heard of you before. But then you've got some information underneath about you. Now you can make this more interesting, like using more of a tagline, like I had that, helping brilliant businesses to sell their stories and that kind of thing. Or you could just leave it quite sort of professional in your job title and your business type. But as long as there is some information that is going to come up on every single post that you do, so bear that in mind. Every single post that you put up is going to have your name and then this little tagline underneath. And then you can go a bit more flowery on your intro, on your about page. So on my about page, I've sort of said to people about your business, you know how good you are, so why doesn't everyone else? Marketing your business can be a full-time job. Let me manage your marketing, take some of the stress away. So it's like a bit of a sales pitch, that bit. And then underneath that, I've gone into a more of a CV type about information underneath there. So I've sort of tried to sell people the service or give them a vibe about what I do. And then I've gone into my sort of experience underneath there. And that's a really good section, because people who go on your LinkedIn are most likely to, first of all, click on your post that they've seen in the feed, but then click on your about page to read more about you. This is an example of my business page. So this is going to appear here in your work menu, where there's the 9 squares at the top, and that's how you access it from your personal page. If you want to set up a new one, just go to work and it'll help you set up a page. So I've said to use your logo as the profile pic, and remember that branding strip as your cover image. I've got all my contact details on there. I've got a QR code as well. QR codes link to websites, basically. You could put them to link to your Facebook page if you don't have a website. It can link anywhere online. And if you want to create a QR code, there's a free one called QR Monkey that allows you to create a QR code. And then once you've got that, just check, because if it's a free one, it's likely to expire after a year or so. But if you pay for one, then you should have that forever. Then use this page to post up about your business activities, and then cross post. So if you've got something like today, for example, that I'm running this session, I actually didn't post it on my business page. I posted it on my personal page today because I was in a bit of a rush. But normally I would post it in my business page and then share it to my personal page. And so that everybody that I know who's following me has an idea of what I'm doing. But anybody who's just following my business page will see that then as well. But on your personal page, you can be a bit more personal. This is what it's about on LinkedIn. And for the algorithms on LinkedIn are sort of picking up on adverts and salesy posts now, and they're not showing them as much. So if you've got a blatant sales post like, this is my product, this is how much it costs, this is how you get in touch, LinkedIn's reading all that and it's thinking this is basically an advert post. I'm not going to show people that. But if you've got an engaging post that people are commenting on and they feel that they're showing the reactions and they feel that they're engaged with, then LinkedIn is more likely to push that up to the top of people's feeds. So there's an example here of Craig Brooks. He's got his top off, and he's put a post about not letting social media warp your reality, and these pictures were taken on the same day, and he's just posing differently, lights differently, etc. But it got really good engagement. And if you look at his title, underneath his title, what he does is he's a double glazing salesman, this guy. So he's nothing at all to do with double glazing in this post. But it's emotive. It's about, the power of social media and selfies and image, and people have liked it and they've engaged with it. It got a lot of engagement. So speak from your heart and be honest. Keep things positive, but address any concerns or setbacks. Like a lot of people are talking about the cost of living crisis at the minute and how it's impacting the businesses and the search for work and that kind of thing. Don't be too formal. Don't worry too much about your spelling or your grammar. And if this is a barrier for you, then there's a free app called Grammarly, and I use it every single day. I use it in my professional line as well. But it's basically a spell check, but kind of better than spell check. It really flags up grammar points, and like if you use the same word a few times, it'll flag that up so that you can change it to a more interesting word and that kind of thing. So please do check out Grammarly, and it will really help you improve your language. Then on your content, and this goes for all social media, not just on LinkedIn, but try and identify your audience for each post. And just because you're a business or you're selling something, or if you're looking for a certain line of work, it doesn't mean that your audience is going to be the same for each post. You might want to be reaching out to, for example, funders or new customers, or people to network with, people in your area. So think about who you're writing for every time you write something, and then tailor that content to them and talk to them. Keep to the point. If you've got one thing that you're talking about and then you want to mention that, oh, by the way, next week we're doing this, then just split that into 2 posts. Simple. Use your each post for 1 point. Any extra info, make it in a different post. Vary your post content. So there's loads of ideas for post content, and lots of people struggle with, I haven't got nothing to post today, nothing's happened, I've not gone out anywhere, I've not met anybody, and I've not made anything or sold anything, and it's been a really boring day, so I'm not going to post up. But if you stop posting, then you're going to lose people. You're going to lose people's views. Obviously, they're not going to see anything if you're not posting anything. So for content ideas, Neil Patel's got lots of, there's an 101 content ideas blog there. Just Google it. I did a little training session last week with Happy Smiles CIC, who are they train schools and businesses on inclusivity and using inclusive language and They sort of sell books on inclusivity and different health conditions and things like that. So we identified during that session about 3 different posts or more that they could have posted up. One was about fire alarms and how difficult it is for people who have a disability to get out in case of a fire, and the lift often goes down in event of an emergency. So if you're up on a higher floor, you know, have buildings got evacuation processes in place? Has your business got an evacuation process in place? One post was about the donate button, because they've got a donate button on the website and they've never really marketed that before. So I said, you know, create a post. Do you want to donate to us? This is how you do it. We accept this. And they had also a shopping account where you can, I think it's an app, and when you're buying things online, if you do it via the app, kind of like the Amazon Smile service, then a portion of the proceeds goes to their charity. So that was another idea for the post.
Can I just jump in, Vicky? So we just had a question from Rakia, just to clarify number 6 that you just have in that black cutout. I think it's 100 words plus, but just to explain what that 100 W plus means. I'm assuming
it is 100 words plus. So try and write as much as you can in a post, you know, beyond, you know, within reason kind of thing. The reason for that is because the more words you use and the more relevant keywords that are in there, the more it's going to appear in people's feeds, because the social media platforms read through your post and they decide whether or not it's relevant for their users. So if you've only posted a couple of words in a picture, it's going to get probably seen by fewer people. So yeah, I always say try and write 100 words plus. You can't do on Twitter, although you can now link tweets, which is a bit easier. Or you can direct them to a blog. If you blogged about something, then on Twitter you can direct them to the blog so that they can read more somewhere else.
Could you use hashtags if you wanted a nice succinct sort of brief post? Could you use a lot of hashtags to get those keywords, or don't they work as well as
again, there's a bit of a debate. Like hashtags were the oldie worldy version of chat, like getting the relevant keywords into your post. So now Facebook and all the platforms are a lot better at reading in through the text and picking out the keywords. So they're not as necessary. But what I see all marketing people say at the moment is the way that that the algorithms work is constantly changing. So it doesn't do any harm to put in relevant hashtags at the end of the post, especially in Instagram, because I think that relies on them a little bit more. So if you want to save time, you can actually create a text replacement for this in your phone. So you type out a paragraph of hashtags for your business or your interests and put it into the text replacement tool in your phone, and then you can allocate a little keyword. So mine's hashtag BLT. So if I type in hashtag BLT, a paragraph comes up with all my keywords on and hashtags, so that I just stick them on the end of the Instagram post then. You don't have to type them out every time. So yeah, and the problem and solution posts are a really good way of getting engagement. So if you've got a problem, like I said before, a lot of my clients' problems is that they haven't had any formal training in social media and digital marketing, but I can offer a solution for that. Stay positive. I always try to stay positive. Don't have too much of a moan. If I want to get political, because I am a local councillor, then I've got a separate account for my local councillor stuff, and I do all my Tory bashing on that. So it stays separate to your work life, you know. And again, if you've got really strong beliefs or strong interests in something that isn't really related to what you're doing for work, then you can put that to one side. And sometimes you'll have a little crossover, like if you go into an event that you think people might be interested in, for example. But try and stay really positive on your sort of professional page. Highlight other people's achievements. Again, we're always talking about bigging each other up, and you know, it takes no time at all just to say to somebody, "Oh, well done, that's brilliant to see that you've done that," and or you know, like, "Look how far you've come," or "I can't believe you've achieved this." You know, it really does help people. It gives them a lift, but also sneakily, it's
Provide you a
engaging.
supporter as well. They're likely to do it back, aren't they, to you? So it's
Yeah, definitely. And they're likely to reciprocate it. And if you are having a lot of engagement with people, well, this is what I talk about, building a community online. So you know, then, like Flourish is brilliant at it, they tag people in all the time that they know to post, so that every time you tweet something, you know you're going to get at least a few retweets or comments underneath it, because you've built that community. And it takes time and effort, but you can help build your community by doing that. And then 7, yeah, they're down here, the 7 standout posts. What a standout post is something that you're going to take some time on. A post that you probably won't post up even every single day, a standout post, but say you've got a new product launch or an event coming up, or you want to highlight some training that you're running or whatever, you want to make an effort on this post. So try and include your logo and your branding on your image, and again, Canva's great for that. Think of a headline statement at the top, so that you immediately, that first 2 lines are the only thing that people are going to see in the feed until they click. So make sure you've got the relevant information or a sentence or a joke or something like that at the top to engage people. Don't forget your contact details, or your call to action. Even if it's the button that you've got message us on Facebook, that's brilliant for that. We talked a bit about hashtags. Think about what keywords you want to keep promoting and what are relevant, and use them. There's no harm in using them at all. Just stick them on the end of the post so that people don't see them really, and they just will glance over them. But some people will search, when people search through platforms, this is the most relevant material that's going to show up for them. And your call to action, what you want people to do, if it is to link or a phone number, or just to speak to us, message us, just tell them what to do, because I think in business, you know, if you want to seal a lead, you need people to have a clear path of what to do. And it's quicker as well. It saves a lot of time when people go, "Shall I ring them? Shall I go to the website?" And then they lose interest because they can't find on your website how to contact you or whatever, and they lose interest. So just give them a quick call to action. And yeah, we talked about 100 words if you can, and emojis. Emojis are brilliant for making your text look a little bit more interesting and relevant for people, and they recognise. Again, it's all about branding. If you recognise a feeling or a product through an emoji, then you linking that in your mind to the post. So building the community, connect with people you already know and work or collaborate with. Think about your ex-colleagues, because they'll have some good contacts for you probably, or people who you used to go to school with even. You know, don't necessarily dismiss someone by thinking, "Oh, they probably won't be interested in this," because the people change over the years, or they might know somebody who is interested in what you're giving or selling. Increase reach by tagging people in. We've talked about that. And think about the givers gain philosophy. So if you're giving to people by commenting and sharing on other people's posts, they'll repay the favour. Ask them as well too. So if you've tagged them in and they haven't reposted, send them a message and say, "Oh, I'm really sorry to bother you, but I'm really trying to promote my event. Would you mind sharing it on your page?" And I run quite a few community pages here in Shevington, and people text us all the time and they'll say, is it okay if we post this on your page? We've got a yoga class, or we've got baby classes, or things like that. And they'll send us the poster and a link usually, and I'll repost that for them, because it's good for my community to know about things. And always reply to someone's comment in your posts. Don't leave them hanging. Continue the conversation, even if it's an emoji. You know, just just that, make sure you answer them. It's just polite, really. Creating a group on Facebook is a really good way to create an inner circle. So if you're starting a new business or you've got a group going, I created a group years and years ago called WN6 Mums, and it was purely for the fact that locally there was a lot going on, but nobody kind of knew everything. There wasn't a one-stop shop for events and like selling baby things or asking for advice locally. So I set one up, and it's now got like 7,000 members. It's a really good group. It's very supportive. There's not a lot of problems with it, and people report any problems. So don't be afraid of setting up a group. Loads of businesses do this now. You're probably a member of some of their groups. It's a way to get your posts seen by more people who are relevant, and those people who are going to buy off you and engage with you. You can make it like worth their while by posting exclusive content in your group, so offers or live videos and that kind of thing. Discount codes, put them in your group. You can share tips, ask questions, and just try and engage daily with that group, because they will be the people who will be there to continue and support you in future, and they're much more likely to see a post that's been posted in the group than they are a post that you posted on your page. And again, Flourish has a brilliant group online. And then I've just put a little bit of a MailChimp nod here. If you can gather your email addresses for an email sign up of people who have engaged with you and given you their email address, then you're entitled to email them back with relevant content. Now, there is a lot of legality around this, around GDPR. So you must register with the ICO. It's the Information Commissioner's Office, and it's a government department that deals with GDPR. And it's £40 a year to be a member of this, but it's not an option. All businesses, if you are storing anybody's information, even if it's just a list of people's names and phone numbers on paper, handwritten, you are storing people's information, and you are responsible for that information not getting leaked. So if you register with the ICO, you'll be given some training, some included in the cost training about GDPR and looking after people's data. And then you can confidently use people's email addresses or ask them to sign up to a newsletter. And this is a really good way to keep in touch and drive the traffic to your socials or your website. So email marketing is definitely worth spending a bit of time on. So just looking now at your previous achievements and what you want people to know about you, we've touched a little bit on like work experience, and you probably have your education details on your LinkedIn page, for example, and your CV. But think about these soft skills that come through. So if you're a parent, and sometimes women especially have taken a lot of time off work, either on mat leave or to care for children longer, through illness, whatever, then you've shown a lot of soft skills through that time. You've shown organisational skills when you're doing the shopping. You're showing budgeting skills for the house budget.
Business management.
Business management. I mean,
Crisis management, I said.
Crisis management, yes, definitely. And things like people don't forget behaviour management, if you're going to work with children in future.
Negotiating skills.
Yeah, I bet, and there's a ton. Cleaning, we've got to learn a bit about food hygiene, and if you want to do a food hygiene certificate, it's like £9 to do a food hygiene test. So if you're thinking of working with food, that's massive. Just to get one done. Also, fundraising, fundraising is a big deal. And if you've applied for any bids for fundraising for your own organisation or charity, then that is in itself, bid writing is a skill. And you can put that on your CV. You can put that in your on your LinkedIn page. Any awards you can nominate yourself for. You don't have to wait for somebody else to nominate you, or you can ask somebody else to nominate you. I've been asked to nominate people and I've done it. And feedback, make sure you collect feedback. So if someone gives you a really positive response, you can turn that into content for your Facebook page or your any social media page.
I'm just a bit aware of time, Vicky, sorry to jump in. I'm just aware of time and sort of the possibility for people to ask questions and answer for you to answer them. So I wonder if after this slide we could maybe take a break. I can stop recording if that's easiest for everyone. We can maybe take some questions and see if people have some queries that you can answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're fairly near the end of the session anyway, but we've talked about more things already, I think. The one last thing really that I wanted to have a look at was written portfolio. So there's a little bit about networking here, which you know you're already doing, but find your local business networking group and get involved with it. It's definitely worth looking at. But here, portfolios of work are a really good way to show off what you've done in like a visual way, and especially if you've got anything creative, if you're a writer or an artist or a baker or anything like that, then please try and get on Canva and create a portfolio of work. And similarly, your digital CV now, if you want to really be ahead of the crowd, create a digital CV, make it look interesting and colourful, and there are templates on Canva that will help you do it. And there's some examples at the end that you can look at as well, but I'll let Anna email all of that out to you. And here's your action plan. So what I'd like people to do after, if possible, is have a look at the action plan and go through the list and just tick things off as you're doing them. And it really helps you. So after the session, when you walked away, so instead of just forgetting about things, come back to this action plan and please give it a go and put it all into practice. And there's a little bit about my training courses at the end. If anyone wants training, I do offer one-to-one training, and I've got some videos on sale for £9.99 in social media marketing and Canva business.
And Vicky also has content on the How To Festival website, so she can share that you can access. Brilliant. An action plan, yes, definitely. And I work as a freelance copywriter as well, and what I always say to myself is write bad, then write better. Just start doing something, because you just end up being frozen. Just start, and then once you've started something, you can improve it. But I think it's just that getting over that hurdle and getting going. So definitely. That's fabulous. Thank you, Vicky. And what I'm going to do is just stop recording now, just so people can have the opportunity to ask questions. But thank you very much. And yeah.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for listening.
Try and work out how to end the recording. Oh, it's because you've got the screen control, isn't it?
Oh, do I have to stop share?
Yeah.